So, I think from an artist perspective, it's always a challenge to kind of, in its own way, it becomes its own challenge to kind of move on past a success like that. Yeah. You've got a new album coming, yep?
I do. I recorded it all of last year. It's called All of Me. It is just a collection of songs. I just basically put every single type of music I listen to, every single, all my experiences, my life, and just wrote about it for a year. I think my thing has never been about the fact that I write one style of music. It's never been, oh, she does R&B, or she just does dance, or she just does reggae. I do everything. And so I just said, you know what, I'm sick of explaining this. I'm just gonna call it All of Me and put All of Me on this record, and that be it. Any questions? All of me. There you go, it's all of me. I wrote from a point of view of everybody having so many different personalities and not being able to, because no one listens to one style of music. No one does one style of thing. You have 10 personalities at one given point, to get through your day. So it was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna put them all down and hope people don't think I'm crazy.
I don't think they'll think you're crazy. I've heard good portions of the album. I think that they'll think you're quite talented. Cool. Tell me a little bit now. Obviously there's a room full of people here that work in and around branding. As an artist, I mean, what is sort of your general take on the notion of your music, your art, sometimes your personality, your persona, your image being used in association with a brand?
I always think it's great.
You're like, I hate it.
I just it's crazy. Yeah. No, I think it's great. It just has to, for me, it always has to be the right fit. I've seen a lot of brands, I've seen a lot of people do stuff for people just because they're hot or because, they just seem to be the face of the moment. And I can't say that some people haven't approached me because of that, but at the same time, I just think it has to be right. People aren't stupid. People are so not oblivious. They know, and information is out there. They know when brands will pair up with whoever's hot at the moment. They'd be like, oh, that's because they just, they had a sex tape out. That's why they're,
right,
or that's because
that always gets the brands right away.
Yeah, that always works, yeah. No, but you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, people will just pair because they're popular. Versus, you know what? Maybe they're not so famous, but you know what? They might do something great for our brand. They might work, and we might hit a demographic that we didn't even know about, So I think it has to be right. I think that's been the key for all of my brand partnerships. It's been right,
In talking to, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the specific brand partnerships in just a moment, but sort of, if I can ask you to speak for all artists for a moment, I mean, is there an evolution from your perspective? I mean, you've been at this for about 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
From your perspective, over that 10-year period, has there been an evolution in the way you feel about, the notion of working with brands? Has there been an evolution from the way I think a lot of musicians feel about working with brands?
I think from like looking at it as a fan and looking at it as just looking at it. When I was growing up, I saw like, Busta Rhymes and Q-Tip and them on the Sprite adverts, and I was like, oh, this is cool. They, oh, cool. Like, they drink Sprite or Mountain Dew. I'm gonna drink Mountain Dew. It was like, oh, that's cool. People that I identify with, and I guess that's the point. Yep. But now the industry's changed. There's so many different things that people, the 360 deals, and everybody's trying to find a way to sell an artist, and the artists are trying to find ways to get out there other than, making a sex tape. And it's kind of, it's like you have to find different and positive ways. I think it's a great thing. I'm definitely all for it.
Some artists are still pursuing the sex tape route, though, just so you know.
I know.
Don't recommend it.
No.
So, okay, well, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the brand deals that you've done, because, in your introduction, I mentioned the Crystal Light campaign, which I sort of held up as an example of how to do these things kind of the right way. Tell me a little bit about how that started. I mean, what are the early moments of that campaign, and let's walk through it a little bit.
Well, they approached me and they were like, we'd like to be involved with you and, and do a campaign, and I was like, well, how? What and how.
Had you been a customer of Crystal Light?
I have been a customer of Crystal Light on the road, but just, generally, not like every day, oh, this is my drink. And so they were telling me more about it. They were like, we want you to just do what you do. With American Way, we love that song. Everyone in the office loves it. Do your thing. And I was like, okay, but I'm going to write the song. I'm going to have as much as I can to do with it.
So, well, okay, let me, I guess then the notion to take away there is that potentially shoving artists into a box and insulting them in the process is probably not the best way to...
Probably not, no.
Yeah,
I'd say go to the artist, go and see what they're about, go and hang out with them, go and see the moments backstage, or go and see the moments that, that you don't get to see when they're out there like, la, go and sit with them, go and listen to them. Actually buy their album, not just a single. That would help. It's like if you want to be in partnership, you really have to be in a partnership. You really have to research it. It can't just be what your kids told you or, or your little cousin told. It has to be for real, like, because that's where you get the best response. I'm the kind of artist that wants to be involved. I always look at the big ones because it's like, you know, they're there and they're obvious, but the way, it's like I said, the way you kind of get to that stage of being huge is not by just being accessible and there for everybody, but they picked and choose the right campaigns. Like Beyonce with L'Oreal was fantastic. And that's just been running for like almost, what, how many years now?
A long time.
A long ass time. You know, that's one. Queen Latifah with CoverGirl. That's another one that's great because she completely changed from tomboy and now she's like, Queen Latifah. You know, it's just like, really? Because I remember you and you know, I remember that. And I think that's the great, and it's a way to brand yourself. It's like, you know what, I'm more than this, I'm this too. And that's what I said, it has to be the right fit. She wanted to move into movies and, you know, and be glamorous and everything, and that's
a great point, because she really did use branding to transition from one point of her career where most people do hit a dead end.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she was a pretty hardcore rapper when I graduated from high school, and by the time I was, you know, 8 years later when I graduated from college, it was, you know, she was a whole other person.
And everything, it was all stuff. Yeah. So yeah, those are two.